Welcome to Empowered Heart to Heart, where you'll hear messages of hope, conversations that heal, and interviews that empower. Well, hey, it's Rhonda Simmons again, and welcome to another edition of Empowered Heart to Heart. I am so glad that you're here. You know, we've had so many wonderful episodes with so many great guests on our show, and today is no exception. In fact, like I always say with every interview, I have met some of the best people this side of heaven, and today is no exception. Before we get into the interview, though, let me just let you know that we are on YouTube. And so if you're watching this on video, make sure you like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll know every time that I post a video. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So you want to make sure you look us up on Twitter and all the other platforms that I mentioned as well. I am just so thrilled today because we've had this series going on for a whole month, throughout the month of January 2024, about women who have overcome not just obstacles, but they've overcome odds, where the odds were so stacked against them, statistics were against them, and sometimes even their own self-belief was against them because there were so many things going on in their lives. But this series has been about those women who have overcome. That's the emphasis here. They're overcomers. And today, I'm so glad to have another guest with me. She has been through teen pregnancy. She has been through an abusive relationship that was just so unhealthy for her, physically, emotionally, in every way, but she overcome. And so here to share her story is none other than Michelle Weihman. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I am fantastic. I had a little cold over Christmas. I got a voice back. I'm excited. Uh,
Well, I am so glad. I'm so glad you made it through the holidays safely and
Absolutely.
healthfully. And I see those initials behind your name. You're a registered nurse?
30 years now. Yeah, it's
Oh,
amazing.
that is
Yes.
wonderful. Congratulations. So I know it hasn't always been as successful as it is right now. What was your breaking point in your life with all that you had going on?
I'll tell you, I was set up as a child. I was set up for success. I went to private grade school, private high school, and at 16 I got pregnant, and there went those plans. Um, so I got pregnant, I got married. Unfortunately, I lost that baby, but I was already married. I was already a high school dropout. As I grew through this relationship, I wanted to go back. I wanted to get my high school diploma. I wanted to get I couldn't even drive. I didn't even have a driver's license. And because I got pregnant so young, and so I wanted to get my driver's license. I wanted to get my high school diploma. And I set myself up for each of these things. And at 18 years old, I had my first child. And at 21, I had another one. And then at 24, and I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to I'm a healer. I wanted to take care of people. But how am I going to do that when I've got three kids and I'm not even 25 years old yet? When I took my GED, I got a very high score. I got a score high enough to get a scholarship to nursing school, and I started nursing school. My ex-husband was abusive. He was mentally and physically abusive. There, there were a lot of holes punched in our walls over the years, physical holes. And I would take my kids to school, and then while I was at nursing school, and then when I came home, I cooked dinner, I cleaned the house, I'd help the kids with their chores, and put them to bed, and then I studied, and that's how I got through nursing school. And then on the weekends, I worked to help pay the bills. And we went through this, and as soon as I got through nursing school, all of a sudden I've got I got thrust into leadership, and I found out something. I'm freaking incredible. I was Wonder Woman at work. I was Wonder Woman, but then at home I was a 16-year-old high school dropout, and the two differences were just incredible to me. I could never, at home, I could never stand up for myself because if I did, I was always walking on eggshells from this husband who was being physically abusive, yelling at my kids, hitting my kids. Um, and I tried to protect them from that, but it was not easy.
Michelle, I'm I am so sorry that you went through all of that. But I know one question that our listeners may have is, with all of the abuse going on in your home, and this is not a question of judgment or
Uh-huh.
accusation, but why did you stay?
Well, let's if we take a step back even further, I was not abused as a child, but my mom was. I saw my dad hit my mom. It was just generational. And in the 80s, like, you didn't leave. You didn't, good families stay together. They don't get divorced.
Mhm.
And so I stayed, and I stayed for the kids. And then when my daughter went to college, this is how long this lasted. It was a 28-year marriage. When my daughter went to college, I was like, what am I doing? This is not the kind of life I want my child to have if when she gets married. And I I started like thinking about, well, when I leave, I'm going to get an apartment, and I'm going to get, and I like was looking at apartments, and I was looking, and it's like, and I hate to use the word manifested. People don't like that word necessarily, but kind of manifested that I was going to leave. And then one day, my ex-husband came home from work, and it was beyond walking on eggshells. He was just angry, 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 angry. And I asked him, "What's going on? What are you so mad about?" And he just said, "You don't give a blankety blank about me." I said, "What are you talking about? I don't even understand this conversation. And you don't care about me." "Well, I do care about you. Of course I do. Why have we stayed married for this long?" And I told my daughter was home. She was home from college, and I told her, I said, "Melissa, go downstairs. Go down to your room." And so he's yelling and he's screaming, and he pulled out a gun, and he's gonna shoot me, and then he's gonna shoot himself. Um, I had to
Wow.
talk him down. My daughter is in her bedroom. She's hiding under her bed. I found this out later because if she hears a gunshot, is that dad shooting himself, or is that dad shooting mom and he's coming for me?
Wow. I can't
And
imagine the fear, the utter fear and torture of that moment. And how were you strong enough to, in the face of your own life being taken, how were you strong enough to talk him off the ledge from taking his own life?
what's it's not funny, but it's so ironic is I talked him down. I talked, let's just put, it's going to be okay. We're going to work this out. We'll work this out tomorrow. Let's get this gun put away. Let's get this, let's just go to bed. It was like 11, 12 o'clock p.m. Let's just, let's deal with this mess tomorrow. This isn't something we need to deal with today. And eventually, I got him, I would try to shake at the door handle, and because he went into his office for a minute, and don't call the police. If you call the police, I'm gonna shoot the police, and don't leave. And and he's telling me, don't leave this door. And so then I talked to him, and I just pleaded with him to put the gun away. Let's just go to bed. And he put the gun away, and I asked him for the key to the gun case. and I got the key to the gun case, and I held that in my hand while we went to bed, and he went to sleep, just no problem. And I held that key in my hand. The next day, I got up and went to work. I'm a nurse. I go to work. I got people to take care of. I told you I'm Wonder Woman.
Wow.
And I my oldest son was home, and I told him, I said, here's the key to the gun case. I want you to take all those guns and take them to your grandpa's house. And my son said, Mom, where's the handgun? I said, I don't know. Isn't it in the gun case? He said, no, it's not in here. So I asked my now ex-husband, I said, where's the handgun? After I had gone to bed, I found and slept that whole night, thinking I was safe, that I had the key to the guns. He had the handgun in his bedside table.
Wow. Oh
And
my goodness.
yeah, and so that was the last night that I stayed in the house with that person.
Well, Michelle, I know this is kind of extra, this question I'm about to ask you, but I know that there are people listening and watching this video who are also victims of domestic violence.
Yes.
What message would you have for them today that are going through similar situations?
It's as hard as it is, get out. Get out. And there's no shame. I was so ashamed. My ex-husband went to the pastor of our church and told the pastor of our church that I was leaving him, that I was divorcing him. And the pastor of my church came to me and said, divorce is a sin. And he didn't care that this man had threatened my life. Get out. Divorce, you you've got to live. These decisions that I made almost cost me my life. And it almost cost me my child's life. It's crazy. Just get out. That's it. And it's not easy. But
Mm.
there are so many places and so many things. What's really funny, Rhonda, is that when I was at work and I would be interviewing a patient, I was the only nurse that ever got this answer. I would say, are you safe at home? And I was the only nurse that ever got the answer, no, I need help. And I did get that answer. I got that answer 5 or 6 times, where I would have to reach out and help them get out of it. And you can go to a nurse, you can go to a shelter, you can go to the police, you can go somewhere, but you just got to get out of it. You got to say, hey, I need help, and not be afraid to admit that I need help.
Michelle, I am so glad that your life has turned out for the better by far.
Yes.
I'm sorry that you went through all that you went through, um, but wow, what an amazing story. So here we are now in almost 2024,
Yeah,
um, and you're on this side of your career.
I am. I am.
So, what advice would you give your daughter who may get married one day? What advice would you give her?
Well, I will say, thankfully, my daughter is married. She's married to a wonderful young man. I absolutely love him. And I've told her it's just a matter of make sure you're happy. And nobody has the right to talk to anyone in certain ways. No one has the right to lay their hands on you. And, like my daughter, if she didn't want to sit on Santa Claus's lap, I didn't make her sit on Santa Claus's lap. Let your child have their their person, their body, their being. That's the advice I have.
Yes, excellent, excellent. So, Michelle, as we wrap this up, here we are, and you have more living to do. If
So
you had
much.
to, yes, if you had to write a letter today to your future self, because we can't go back, we're not looking back, but here we are with the wisdom that we have. and you had to write yourself a letter today to the older you, what would you tell her?
I just want her to go for it. I want her to be happy. I want her to go whatever it is that she wants to do. So she wanted to write a book, we're going to write a book. She wants to start a podcast, we're going to start a podcast. Whatever it is she wants to do, we're just going to go for it. Go full out and stop putting the brakes on everything. Don't be scared. Just jump in there and if if you I've got 5 dogs, if I need a sixth dog, I get a sixth dog. It's going for it, doing what I want to do, what I need to do to make me happy.
Well, I am so glad to hear that. That is fantastic. Life is too short not to be
It is.
happy and not to do what you love. And even if you do have 5 dogs,
They
that's a
were
whole
very good.
yes, yes, that's a whole lot of dog food. Well, Michelle, I am so glad that you have a story of triumph, and that you've overcome so many odds, and that you're here today to tell it and
Yeah.
to talk about your victories. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And by the way, I hear that you've got something great in the works that you're working on.
I do. I have so many things that I've been so blessed as I've continued my career from St. Louis, which is where I grew up, to now I'm in Las Vegas, and I have developed so many friendships with different healthcare professionals, and decided that I wanted to start a membership site for healthcare professionals, for people who are the healthcare professionals, like to teach them how to do meditation, to teach them how to find and to search into themselves, um, and to bring people like you to talk to them and be able to spend time with them and do a little coaching with them on your own too. It's an amazing site. I've got lots of really good people lined up. I've got Maggie Ortiz, and she's a nurse advocate. She goes with nurses to the board of nursing when there's any issues with their licensing and stuff like that. Or and I've got a breathwork specialist coming in, and I've got a business coach coming in. I've got all these people coming in lined up to talk to my people in the membership. It's going to be amazing. You can follow me on social media and say, "Hey, Michelle, I heard about the membership. It sounds great. I want in. I'll get you in."
Well, that is fantastic. I tell you, you're doing great things, and I expect to see even more of you on social media and just having great successes. Thank you so much for being on my show today, and I
Oh,
look
thank
forward to
you.
seeing you again.
Thank you for being so awesome. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. If you'll just hang out, I'll be with you in just a moment, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, just like I promised, an amazing guest with an absolutely amazing story. If you're listening or watching and you are the victim of domestic violence, do what Michelle said, get out, muster the nerve. Even if all you have is, if Michelle can do it, I can do it. Get out of that situation. No one deserves to be beat on, to be abused. You don't deserve that. You're greater than that. You have more value than that. And it's not your fault. And so, if you are a victim of domestic violence, I'm sure wherever you are, there are resources available in your area. If nothing else, go to the police. I know there are police in every state, every country. Go to the police, and they can direct you to various resources in your community. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode. And I want you to be blessed, be encouraged, but most of all, be empowered. And I'll see you next time.